Good morning and welcome to our morning service for Yom Kippur. We turn, friends, to page 170. And we join in probably the most known Hebrew word, hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. As we continue on with our services, let us pause and take a moment to breathe in that beauty of Shabbat, to breathe in the beauty that is today. Let us turn together to page 173.
Hamelech Yoshev al Kisei Raham v'Nisa Shochenad Marov v'Kadosh Shemo v'Chatov Ranenu Tzadikim Baronai Layesharim Navateila.
We rise together as one community on page 178 for our official call to worship, our Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
turn together, the middle of page 181. Like an unbroken current, energy streams from the source, bathing the planet in light, calling forth life, movement, mind unfolding from matter, the power to love. And we offer it back to you, our own creative energy, ever dreaming, building, shaping patterns out of chaos, searching out light in the darkness. Creation never ceases, not for an instant. All life is aglow with your light. All things draw sustenance from the source. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'orot. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the lights of heaven. We turn together, page 182.
Ahava Rabbah, Ahavtanu, Adonai, Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola, Veterah, Chamalta
Shema reminds us of oneness, and I think we all just experienced a touch of that oneness. So let's turn together on page 186 and offer these words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated as together we continue with our service, page 188, as we chant one community, our Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We turn to page 197. We offer these words before the singing of Mi Chamocha. Who is like you among the silent, mute, and inscrutable? You witness our pain. Together, once upon a time, sea was split. Centuries of innocent blood, lives lost to hunger, war, to cruelty or indifference, and those who died with your name on their lips, and still they perish in distant lands, and still they languish on our chilly streets.
Your creatures are drowning even now, so why should we sing?
Ever silent, hiding out in history, you have your reasons, or so they say. You left us on our own, so let us give you leave. Withdraw into yourself, withhold your saving power.
And we will live on memories of joy, and stubborn and stiff-necked, we sing
And gather strength to fight the pharaohs when we must.
and hold fast to freedom and celebrate in song, and vow that we will never be among the silent.
So we sing that song of freedom, page 196, Mi Chamocha.
שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחן אומך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, קהל ישראל.
I'll let you in on a little secret. The Hebrew Union College is very blessed to have a class co-taught by Rabbi Joel Simons and Cantor J. Freilich. That must be a pretty special opportunity. I think it's called Humor 101 on the pulpit. Friends, we're going to turn to 198. I invite all who are able to please rise as we begin our tefillah. Adonai svatai tiftachu fi agiti hilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. We're going to go through 198, 200, 202, right in a row. So let's turn to our avot, the imahot, and join us, please, when it's time for Zachrenu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, v'hanora. El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot, ve'imahot, me'evi geula, livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
Join me, friends, the bottom of 204. Together, your life-giving power is forever, Adonai, with us in life and in death. You liberate and save, cause dew to descend, and with mercy abundant, lovingly nurture all life. From life to death, you are the force that flows without end. You support the falling, heal the sick, free the imprisoned and confined. You are faithful even to those who rise in the dust. Power beyond power, from whom salvation springs, sovereign over life and death, who is like you? Merciful God, who compares with you? With tender compassion, you remember all creatures for life. Faithful and true, worthy of our trust, you sustain our immortal yearnings. In you we place our undying hopes. Wellspring of blessing, power eternal, you are the one who gives and renews all life. We invite you, friends, to be seated as we turn to 209. Prayers were not all written at one age and at one time. The Unatana Tokef, which follows, is a prayer from a particular time and place, and for some is a very difficult and haunting prayer. I'd invite you to prepare for this prayer, the Unatana Tokef, God's power, by looking at 209 and reflecting silently on these words in an interpretation you may find of meaning. 209. Unetana Tokef begins on 208, the second paragraph.
ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום. ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום, ובו תנשא מלכותך ויקום בחסד כיסאך ותשב עליו באמת, ותשב עליו באמת. אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד. אמת, אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד. וחותם, וחותם, וסופר, ומונה, ותזכור כל הנשכחות.
תזכור כל הנשכחות, תצא וסומך וגאלה, וחותם יד כל אדמות, וחותם יד כל אדמות, וחותם יד כל אדמות, וחותם יד כל אדמות.
ובשופר גדול ייתקע,
ובשופר גדול ייתקע,
וכל דממה דקה יישמע. Who by fire,
Who by water,
who in the sunshine,
who in the nighttime,
who by high ordeal, who by common trial,
who in your merry, merry month of May,
who by very slow decay, who shall I say is calling?
who in her lonely slip, who by barbiturate, who in these realms of love, who by something blunt,
Who by avalanche, who by powder, who for his greed, who for his hunger, and who
shall I say is calling? Who shall I say is calling? By brave ascent, who by accident, who in solitude, who in his mirror, who by his lady's command,
Who by his
by
own
his
hand,
own hand,
who in
mortal
mortal
chains,
who
in power, who shall I say
is
calling? Who shall I say is calling?
Page 212. On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. Rosh Hashanah Yikatenu, Uv'yom Tzom Kippur Yechatenu. Rosh Hashanah Yikatenu, Uv'yom Tzom Kippur Page 215 in the middle. Let's read responsibly, friends. When we walk through a valley of darkness, but find courage to live in the shadow of pain.
We transcend the harshness of the decree.
When we speak about fear with honesty and share what is hardest to say.
We transcend the harshness of the decree.
When day becomes night, but we let ourselves hope.
Transcend the harshness of the decree.
When we feel far from caring and friendship, but let go of pride to ask for help.
We transcend the harshness of the decree.
When in grief we are crushed by the absence of love, but open ourselves to your presence.
We transcend the harshness of the decree.
Page 218. Let us rise.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech kol haaretz kevod
Adirenu, Adonai, Adonai, Adoneinu, Ma'adir Shemecha, Mechol haaretz. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yoshmienu, berachamav lehinei kol chai.
You may be seated, friends. Page 223. Let's read together at the bottom. To be awake is to be alive. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. One cannot help but be in awe when one contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Wisdom begins with awe of the eternal. Friends, we're going to invite you to take a moment on your own between 2:31 and 2:44. Number of prayers here, a number of them that you may find meaningful. The traditional Hebrew and translation on the right side of the page, the paraphrases and poetic interpretations on the left side of the page. But take a moment on your own, choose your own meditation, 2:31 through 2:44. Last night offering a reminiscence and vignette about their own connection to Temple were Linda and Alan Goldman. It's my privilege now to have mother and daughter, Nancy Abel and Allison Schwartz, offer their own memories at this time. There we go. Thank you so much.
University Synagogue, our home, our extended family, a house of prayer, reflection, and inspiration for all people along life's journey, including our family for more than 60 years. It started for me when members of this congregation, the late Alfred and Eleanor Klein, adopted me into this Jewish community. How many of you share my vivid memories of being greeted in our synagogue's kitchen on the first day of religious school by Joan Fishman, then the religious school director, and our congregant more than 60 years later?
My grandpa Al was a vice president of this congregation, and I'm proud to have followed in his footsteps to serve as a vice president of education and trustee here decades later. It's been an honor to be a lay leader for this synagogue during the past few years of transition and amazing growth for our preschool and religious school. Becoming more involved in synagogue life has enriched my own life and that of my family.
University Synagogue was our home every week for religious school, scout troop meetings, and services in my childhood years, and many of yours as well. Our synagogue became an even cooler place when the congregation finally raised enough money to install air conditioning. Thoughtful teachers in our religious school helped shape our views about justice, self-worth, and leadership, and gave us a start on mitzvah projects. I believe we were the first synagogue in Los Angeles to partner with the First AMA Church on a youth initiative to bring meals to those in need. Here we learned to set high goals, to use our voice to speak up and address what was wrong. In doing so, I reached a crossroads in my early teens in this synagogue and began to question my faith here when I received no satisfactory answer to my questions about why young women here were not allowed to become bas mitzvahs or to partake in certain aspects of our confirmation service. But thoughtful voices prevail, and fortunately, things would soon change as our synagogue moved to the forefront of civil rights, equality, and inclusion for all, and welcomed Rabbi Alan Freeling, Cantor J. Freilich, and music director Susan Rosenstein. They and our leaders today empowered our minds, built bridges to congregations of other faiths, connected us with our fellow Jews across the world, expanded our contributions to the broader community, and impacted our hearts and minds with words and melodies that replayed in our heads long after each service concluded.
Back in 1981 and for years after that, I sat on this bima every Friday for preschool Shabbat with Cantor J. During those years, my family and I formed friendships that continue today.
Within the walls of the ECLC, values and traditions were shaped and continue to anchor all of us. Gloria Ruth's weekly Mommy and Me program welcomed our infant daughter, Lauren, and hundreds of yours each week into our synagogue family.
In 1989, my friends and I joined Hashurim. We were proud to sing for years in our synagogue during Shabbat services and had our first appearances on television when a local network broadcast Hashurim's Hanukkah performance at the Beverly Center.
In 1981, our family had the joy of watching my father present a talit to Allison on this bima on the occasion of her bat mitzvah and begin the passage of the Torah to another generation of our family, Lador Vador. As I look throughout the congregation today, I am reminded of hundreds of families who have celebrated the most precious moments of their lifetimes up here on this bima.
Becoming a bat mitzvah marked my transition into Jewish adulthood. What better way to start in the summer of 1992 than to ride my bike to the synagogue each morning, Monday to Friday, to work as a teacher's aide in one of the Eklek preschool classes. At the time, I wondered why so many mothers left the school crying each morning. A few years ago, it all became crystal clear to me. In 1995, my parents and I gathered on these grounds for a purpose for which the synagogue was not built. They taught me how to drive in the University Synagogue parking lot. At this time, there was no guard booth, no gate, and no walls.
Shortly thereafter, we stood here with pride as our younger daughter Lauren became a bat mitzvah. By then, Alzheimer's had robbed my father of his present-day memory. But Judaism was so central to his core that it filled a void that nothing else could. When Cantor J sang each blessing in here, a smile came across my dad's face, and he belted out the words and melodies in unison with our cantor. That beautiful Havdalah service in the sanctuary was our extended family's last gathering with 2 generations, parents and a great-grandparent, who passed away not long thereafter, and I always cherish our precious memory of that evening here together.
In 1997, I went off to college and work in New York. When it was time to get married, Matt, my husband-to-be, and I asked Cantor J to officiate. I couldn't have imagined anyone else officiating our wedding. After all, we met when I was 2 years old. In 2012, after living in New York for 15 years, I walked back through the doors of the synagogue for our son Dylan's first day of preschool. My family and I were greeted with the most open arms by Rabbi Feinstein and Rabbi Simons, and I could not help but feel that I had come back to a place that was surely a second home to me. In 2013, our daughter Lexi received her Hebrew name in the chapel. For the last 5 years, our children have spent almost every Friday on this bima singing Bim Bam and celebrating Shabbat with their preschool family, giving me flashbacks to similar moments I had so many years ago.
Our synagogue has always called us to action to serve those in need in the community and around the world. Now Rabbi Simons has launched the Jewish Center for Justice here in our home, in civilization's time of greatest need for engagement by all of us. As we leave here today, carry our cantor's melodies in our hearts, remember the words of our rabbis, and celebrate our synagogue's 75th birthday. May we be inspired to continue our tradition of action, of giving, of compassion, of openness and inclusion. And may our synagogue continue to give birth to generations to come that will question the status quo and raise their voices to drive needed programs, unity, and peace.
University Synagogue has been our place to celebrate our Jewish identity and experience and enjoy so many wonderful milestones. The people that fill up this building change over time, but the history, the foundation, and the connections between past and present are what make our synagogue such a special place. Watching my children roam the hallways, run in circles in Klein Hall after Shabbat, figure out the meaning and gift of being a Jew, give me not only great pride, but also a sense of comfort in knowing that University Synagogue will be their homes and all of our homes too for all of our years to come. Lashana Tova.
We turn, friends, from the blessing of our history to the priestly blessing, the middle of 244. Our God, divine presence, whose path our ancestors walked, bless us now with the words first bestowed on Israel in the time of Moses and Aaron, the threefold blessing given us through Torah that joins our hopes with theirs. Page 246, our prayer for peace.
החסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום.
We continue silently, friends, page 248.
Shops closing, sun setting, the last bus about to run. Tired soldiers returning home with flowers in their hands for their parents. The streets are thinning. Shabbat descends onto Jerusalem. And there we were as one family at the Jerusalem urgent care. Because kids get sick, and as the Yiddish proverb goes, we plan and God laughs. But as we sat there in that sterile waiting room, just minutes away from the holy site of the Western Wall, we in fact experienced a different kind of Shabbat holiness. Not the holiness of ancient ruins, not the holiness of a Shabbos table off a cobblestone street, but the holiness of true Israel. Israelis, Arabs, and Russians, Jews, Muslims, and Christians taking care of one another. Jewish doctors being relieved of their shift from their Muslim colleagues, allowing them to make Shabbos with family. Here, politics was absent. Just a plain room with scared people in need of care and a team of sacred souls ready to help. Now, to be fair, these few hours in urgent care did not define our time in Israel this past summer. Rather, our experience was filled with excitement and love, nostalgia and growth. You see, Ariella and I wanted our children, Noah and Zev, to experience the Promised Land. We wanted them to see her magic through our eyes, to breathe in the beauty of an ancient language used in the streets, to smell the bakeries as the morning begins, to hear the sounds of the morning Shema coupled with the minarets. We wanted them to see Israel, not through debate, not through caveats, and not through delegitimization. We want them to see the land of their ancestors, and God willing, the land of their grandchildren. In one of my favorite stories, it was once told that Rabbi Yitzhak Hunter was walking with the great Zionist rabbi, Rav Kook, and they were amidst the mountains of the land of Israel. Rav Kook marveled at the impressive landscape and was taken aback by its beauty. Interrupting the Rav's moments of awe, he was asked, "But Rav Kook, you've been to the Swiss Alps. What's so special about these mountains?" Rav Kook replied, yes. The Swiss Alps, they are beautiful, but they don't speak to me. The land of Israel, she can speak to us. But I fear that right now, we're not listening. Because let's be honest, right now it's hard to listen. It's hard to listen while we're overwhelmed with the calamities of our time. Natural disasters and a failed response, division, hatred, injustice. Why concern ourselves with Israel? She is all the way over there and I am right here. But it's that reason. It's that feeling, it's that response which demands of us to talk about Israel today. Because Israel is not over there. She is in here. She is our soul and our eternal hope. It's that hope that touched the souls of our ancestors and will continue to touch the souls of generations yet to come. You see, we sit here today of that hope that was dreamed of by those that came before us. But even as we sit here, we should never forget that we are a people that moves. From land to land and from generation to generation, we move with a purpose. That dream of Israel. From that moment that God called Abraham to Lech Lecha, we turned our hearts toward that dream of Israel. And it continued when we broke those chains of bondage in Egypt to become a free people. We turned our hearts towards that dream of Israel. It continued when Moses ascended Mount Nebo to get a glimpse of the Promised Land. We turned our hearts toward that dream of Israel. It continued throughout every generation as they faced despair and challenges. We turned our hearts toward that dream of Israel. And it continues today. Even while we concern ourselves with the challenges here at home, we grow our capacity to care. We muster the strength, and we turn our hearts toward that dream of Israel. because it's a dream that transcends over 70 years of self-rule. It's a dream that transcends labor and Likud. It's a dream that transcends infighting and global posturing. It's a dream that keeps our hopes bright, even during these dark times. But we must admit here today, this morning, it's not easy being us. We as Jews are forced to live in two places at once. We are here at home, and we admit that we have another home. Our heart is here, and our heart is in the East. The great Israeli poet Yehuda Amichai, in his poem, A Man in His Life, said it best. Amichai wrote, "A person doesn't have time to live his life and to have time for everything. She needs to love and to hate at the same moment, to laugh and to cry with the same eyes, with the same hands to throw stones and to gather them, to make love in war and war in love." And so it is with the Jewish spirit, with our spirit. We do not have time to live in one reality and put the other on hold. We must live here and keep our hearts there. We must be comfortable with this duality because this is our Jewish existence. You see, growing up, I was always taught that the three pillars of Judaism were God, Torah, and Israel. But far too often in this new age, we hear people saying God, Torah, and Israel only upon these conditions. But this, my friends, is not our Israel. Her soul, her ancient call to us is unconditional because it's more than just modern politics and policies. It's that soul that is not reported upon. It's that soul that gets lost among debate. But it's her soul that is bound up with our soul and will continue to shine bright after all of us are gone. You see, we cannot allow individuals and coalitions to take away the Israel that our grandparents and great-grandparents dreamed of for us. Just last week, as one community, we gathered here on Rosh Hashanah and we read the difficult words of the binding of Isaac. Yes, commentators throughout the ages have reinterpreted the message to help soften the blow. But when we sit here as one community, hearing the words of Abraham taking his only son to be sacrificed without even telling his wife Sarah, we feel anger. We feel frustration. But we come back here today and we open up our Torah again and we turn to the book of Deuteronomy and we read of the entire community standing together as one. Because Torah has its good chapters and its difficult chapters. But we embrace all of Torah as one community. And so too with Israel. Leaders might anger us. Policies might frustrate us. But like Torah, we embrace her ancient call to us. From the good chapters to the challenging ones. Because if we only care about Israel when it's convenient, if we only care about Israel during those times of joy, then she will flee our souls. And she will become that country over there. But we know that she's not that country over there. She's special to us. As Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught, the unique challenge of Jerusalem, of Israel, is uniting the human and the holy. It's living that divine vision of a Jewish soul once scattered, but now found. It's that vision that is reflected in the story by our colleague, Rabbi Joe Black. His friend, Isa ben Raphael, lives in Jerusalem. Her first husband, David, was the deputy chief of mission in Buenos Aires when he was killed in the Israeli embassy attack in 1992. Since then, Isa has remarried and rebuilt a new life in Jerusalem. But she wrote this poignant story just a few months ago. Isa writes, "Something small but beautiful happened at our neighborhood post office this morning. I go in, I get a number, and it's busy in there. We've been closed for the last 2 days from the Shavuot holiday. My number gets called, and I walk up to the counter, and I see that the postal worker is from the post office from across town where I have a post office box. I greet her, and she greets me back with my first name. My first name. I'm surprised, and I share that surprise with her. She smiles. Of course I remember you. How could I not? You are Isa. You inherited the post office box from David. He was such a sweet man. I'm taken aback and I begin to cry. I say to her, it's a pity that this glass is between us because I would love to hug you. She comes out from her cubicle and we hug. We embrace like two lost souls. But this is Israel. And our hug is interrupted by a slightly annoyed and aggressive Israeli man who yells at us, "What are the two of you doing? I'm late. Move on with this." So the postal clerk turns to him. With politeness, she shares the story about how I inherited the post office box, who David was, and how he died. The man begins to cry. A quiet falls over the post office. We are Israelis, and we do not do quiet well. Another man calls out, "Well then, give her another hug. For this, surely we all have time." And suddenly I realize that this little moment of understanding, this bittersweet moment of public remembering on an ordinary day, is the reason why we are all Israel. For some, Israel is just a country. For us, it is that ancient soul of a people wandering the desert for years only to find their descendants hugging in a post office on an ancient street. And so there we were. Ariella and I found ourselves wandering those same ancient streets. Shabbat had begun, the buses had ceased, the taxis returned home, an exhausted Noah laying in our arms, an anxious Zev waiting for us back at the apartment with family, and no transportation in sight. And then it happened. A small car pulls up. It was an Israeli soldier. She rolled down her window and she said to us, "I saw you at urgent care. Do you need a ride home? Can I drive you?" Thankful and moved, we said yes. Now let me pause for a moment. Noah is almost 6 and Zev is almost 3.5, and we have spent the last few years teaching them about stranger danger and not to get into cars with people that we don't know. And there we were, halfway across the world, getting into a car with a stranger. As we drove the empty streets of Jerusalem, we made small talk. We asked her questions, and she asked us the same. It turned out that she was a member of the Reformed synagogue in Jerusalem, Kol HaNeshama. Amazed and excited, we told her how much we loved it there, how every time we come to Jerusalem, we pray there, and how we prayed there the previous Friday night. At that moment, she stopped the car, and she turned around and she looked at us, and she said, "You were the family in the corner playing with the toys." A tired Noah looked up at us, and she said, "Abba, how do you know her?" Israel, Noah. We know her because it's Israel. We arrived back at our apartment and we thanked her for her kindness. We wished each other a Shabbat Shalom. Now was the hard part. To re-educate Noah about stranger danger, but to remind Noah of the beauty and kindness of Israel, what it means to live among an ancient family, and to never, ever forget that deeply holy, deeply Jewish, and deeply Israeli moment in that car. A moment not experienced from a tour bus, but a moment felt by living in the land of our ancestors and reconnecting with lost family. As we started up the stairs to our apartment, I looked around. I saw our soldier drive away, and I stared at the sun over the Jerusalem stones about to set, and I knew this is the true Israel. Bruised and beautiful, ancient and modern, conflicted and complete. Throughout our lives, coalitions will be formed. Governments might be frustrating. Leaders will rise and they will fall. Local and national issues will consume us. But Israel, that soul of our people, is eternal. She is a hello in the street, a hug in the post office, a soldier's ride home before Shabbat. She is our Nefesh Yehudi, our eternal Jewish soul.
We turn, friends, to page 252 and invite all who are able to rise for Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatonu lefanecha.
We join together in our folk version of Avinu Malkeinu, bottom of 253. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu va'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Asemanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Asemanu, tzedaka v'chesed, ve'hoshi'enu. Asemanu, tzedaka Our service for the reading of Torah begins on 256. It's my esteemed honor to invite Congressman Brad Sherman to help us carry the scrolls of Torah, a great friend of Israel, and we're so delighted to return to our synagogue today. 256.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'Baruch Shemo.
Gadol Adonai Itina Roma Mashemo Yachsav. Oh, magnify the Eternal One with me together. Let us exalt God's name.
Echad Adonai, Hagedula, Hagevura, Hatiferet, Hanetzach, Hahod. Ki hol b'shamayim uba'aretz, Ki hol b'shamayim uba'aretz. Lecha Adonai, Amar lecha, Be'amizrah hazeh, le'ol rosh.
Now,
Rommemu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'ishtachvu kocho, rommemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kocho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu rommemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu rommemu. Rommemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kocho. Rommemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kocho. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam omeid. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam omeid. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam omeid. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, olam omeid. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. 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 Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Bikdushato ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, udvar Adonai miYerushalayim. Yisrael ve'oraita ve'kodesh avericho chadu. Yisrael ve'oraita ve'kodesh avericho chadu. Torah, Alleluia. Torah, Alleluia.
You may find the blessings before the Torah on 258. And the reading from Torah this morning from the book of Deuteronomy will be found on 266. It's my privilege to first invite for our Aliyah, our trustees and officers of University Synagogue. Yamdu kol hagabayim shel Beit HaKnesset shelanu.
And I'd like to ask all of our Torah readers to please join us now. Allie Abemeyer, Maddie Glenn, Cole Hine, Jason Morgan Besser. and Damon Pizzuto. We need Allie. Allie, come. To save a spot right here. We have to let Allie in.
Allie Abemeyer is our Torah reader, and as has been delegated to Mr. Katz, you're leading. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Ba'ed. Amen.
אתם ניצבים היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיהם, שבטיהם, זקניהם ושוטריהם, כל איש ישראל, טפהם, נשיהם, בגרها אשר בקר מחניה, מהותה ביצה עד שואב מימיה. אברהם בברית אדוני אלוהיך ובעלתו אשר אדוני אלוהיך כורת עמך היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah.
Amen. We invite forward all who are our recent B'nai Mitzvah, approximately a year ago from Rosh Hashanah till now. Y'all come down. Madeline Glenn, who was one of the recent B'nai Mitzvah, is our Torah reader.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Ba'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen.
Leman hakimoteha hayom lo le'am vehu yeleha le'elohim ka'asher diber lach v'ha'asher nishba la'avotecha le'avraham le'yitzhak u'Yaakov v'lo itehem levadehem anohi koreit et habra'it hazot ve'et halah hazot ki et asher yishnot po imanu omeid hayom lifnei Adonai Eloheinu ve'et asher aninenu po imanu hayom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notei haTorah.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you can have a seat. Our next Torah reader is Cole Hine, and we invite forward members of Rabbi Stanley David's Chevra Torah class from our Saturday mornings. Come and join us. By the way, Rabbi Davids has his own YouTube channel if you want to get about 4 to 5 minutes of Torah on Fridays. A little video will get you ready for Shabbat each week. First syllable is ba. Ready, set, go. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher Anochi metzavecha hayom lo nifleti mimecha lo rechoka hi lo vashamayim hi lemor mi ya'alelanu hashemayma yikaecha lanu yashminu ota v'nasena v'lo me'ever layam hi limor mi ya'ava lanu El Ever Hayam Yikecha Lanu V'yashminu ota v'nasena Ki karov elecha hadavar me'od Beficha u'bilvavecha lasoto.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you all. We invite forward for our fourth Aliyah those who have been to Israel during the past year. So if you were fortunate enough to visit, come and join us here for an Aliyah. Our Torah reader is Jason Morgenbesser. Included among those who are coming are some who participated in our Israel Twinning program as 8th graders, family trips, and I might introduce to you here Samara Leader, Samara Wave, who is the head of all youth programs for the Union for Reform Judaism on the West Coast, comes to us from Camp Newman, and we're delighted she's now living in Westwood. So she's right here. Pass this around. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Re'eh natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim ve'et hatov ve'et hamavet ve'et hara asher nochi mitzavecha hayom le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha lalechet bidrachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'chukotav u'mishpatav v'chayita v'ravita uvrachecha Adonai Elohecha ba'aretz asher ata v'shama l'rishta v'im yifnei levacha v'lo tishma v'nidachta v'ishtachta v'ita lehim acherim va'avadetam.
Amen. We're on 268, friends, verse 18. Damon Pizzuto is our Torah reader, and we invite to the Bema Congressman Brad Sherman. Yamod Yisrael Yaakov ben Moshe.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Higadeti lachem hayom ki avod tovetum lehet arechu yamim al ha'adema asher ota over et hayardein lavo shama erishta hidadoti vachem hayohom et hashamayim ve'et haaretz hacharim ve'hamavet nata'ati lafanecha haberecha ve'hakalala uvecharta b'chayim leman tiyeh ota v'zarecha le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha lishmo bikolo uledov kavo ki hu chayecha ve'odorech yamacha leshevet al ha'adema asher nishba Adonai la'avotecha le'avraham litzchak u'liakov latet lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betohenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen. Congressman just whispered to me that if there ever comes a time that he should choose to retire from the House of Representatives, he's going to join the University Synagogue Choir. Thank you, Shana Tova. Thank you, Damon. Very nice. Invite you all to please rise as we raise the Torah on high. For this is the Torah which Moses read before the Jewish people to fulfill the word of God.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. לי לי לי
Be seated, friends. We're going to turn, friends, in a minute to our Misha Berach. I want to remind the congregation that this afternoon I'll be inviting any who may have been in need of healing during this last year to come be at the Holy Ark as we offer our Misha Berach. And then the Ark will, of course, be open during the beginning of the Ne'ilah service this afternoon for any who want to come and offer personal prayer. If you know of someone who is ill and you would like to mention his or her name at this time, please feel comfortable in doing so, for we draw strength from one another as we hear the cries and the yearnings within our community.
Sandy Levy.
Rana Spall, Bonnie Goldman, Risa Davids, Wendy Feinstein, Robert Feinstein, Myrna Feinstein, Rabbi Howard Leibson, Gail Israel Levy, and Arnold Kopelson. May each of them and all the names we have mentioned and those names in our hearts be recalled now for time for healing and for good health ahead.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Hu Yevarech v'yerapeh et hacholim.
My privilege to invite forward to offer our Haftarah blessings and our Haftarah this morning, Sammy Lena and Eliana Feinstein.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nevi'im tovim v'retzav v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo Yisrael amo, uvimvier ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Kira v'garon al tachsoch, kashofar hareim kalecha, v'hagei la'ami pisham, uveit Yaakov chatotam. Loti Yom Yom Yidroshun Veda Aterachai Yechpatsun Kegoy Asher Tzedakah Asa Umishpat Elohav Lo Azav Yishaluni Mishpatei Tzedek Kirvat Elohim Yechpatsun Lama Tzamnu Velo Ra'ita Ninu Nafshenu Velo Teda Hein Beyom Tzomchem Tim Tzuchefetz V'kol Atzvechem Tin Gosu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zor kol haolamim Tzadik b'chol hadarot Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'oseh Hamdaber umkayem Shekol devarav Emet v'tzedek Al ha'torah Ve'al ha'avodah Ve'al hamvim Ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh Ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'limnuha Limhila v'lisliha Ul kapara Lechavod ul tifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim la Umevarachim ota Yitbarach shimha B'fi kol hai Tamid le'olam va'ed Uvracha emet V'kayom la'ad Baruch atah Adonai Melech moher v'soleach V'la avonotenu V'la avonot amo beit Yisrael Uma avir ashmotenu B'chol shana v'shana Mele al kol ha'aretz Mekadesh ha'shabbat V'Yisrael v'yom ha'kippurim.
Amen.
My privilege to invite Alan Golad, our synagogue president, forward, page 284.
Good Yontiv. This beautiful red carnation that I'm wearing is worn by all our past presidents as recognition of their tireless work on behalf of University Synagogue. There's a running joke among past presidents. The president's pay is lousy, but the perk is great. And that perk? The reserved parking space. But there are more perks than that. Like these seats on the Bima, most comfortable seat in the house. But the best perk of all is the opportunity to stand on the Bima and hear the final shofar blast and see our congregation as one community, singing together, swaying arm in arm as darkness descends when we conclude these High Holy Day services with our beautiful Havdalah service. Please join us at 2:30 for our afternoon services. Shortly after our morning services today, I invite you to two very special events. In Great Chapel, Yuval Ron, award-winning composer and musician, will offer personal time for prayer and meditation with his instrumental mastery of the oud. And in the Beit Midrash, noted social activist, Pastor Eddie Anderson of the McCarty Church, will lead a social justice discussion. Friends, on page 284, please join as I offer prayer for our congregation and to the leaders of our congregation. Eternal Presence, who blessed our mothers and fathers, bless this holy congregation, a house of study, prayer, and righteous deeds. We give thanks for our leaders, those who learn, teach, and uphold the Torah, inspiring others to learn, teach, and uphold the Torah. Those who do the sacred work of building our community. May their service bring them joy, fulfillment, and purpose, and may they go from strength to strength. It is now my privilege to introduce you to the members of our congregation and our friends and our leaders who joined us on the Bema this afternoon. To my left, Bill Masters, Gail Masters, Martha Melvoin, our past president, Jeff Melvoin, our cantor emeritus, Jay Freilich, Rabbi Feinstein, Cantor Shapiro, Rabbi Simons, our rabbinic intern, Joanne Leubin, our treasurer, Susan Weiss, Larry Weiss, past president Roy Weinstein, and Julia Weinstein. And we are very proud that Julia also serves as the Vice President of Advocacy, Marketing, and Communications for the Organization of Women of Reform Judaism. Please join me now in the middle of page 284 as we read together, as we give thanks to the members of University Synagogue. For our members, diverse in age, interest, and background, Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and those of other faiths who join with us, all who offer their time and talent, their love and commitment, for all who come here on this holy day of Yom Kippur to share the meaning and renewal. Your presence is a blessing, your friendship a gift. May your fast be easy. Thank you.
Friends, we turn to page 290 as we return the Torah to the Ark. Yehallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado. As the Ark doors close, we may take our seats. So as our theme of Israel continues, there are the availability of boxes for Israel bonds or envelopes to support Israel bonds. They are set into our lobby area, and you're cordially invited to support that, to offer a new variety of our Israel appeal. My privilege to invite forward our former treasurer and executive vice president, John Libby.
Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. I've had the honor and the privilege of traveling to Israel over 20 times, if you can believe it, in the last 3 years for business. So I have a few Israeli stories of my own. I will not be able to top Rabbi Simon's wonderful sermon from this morning, but I do have some thoughts and some thoughts for the congregation. During many of my trips, I've been able to take some time to explore the country and its history. For those of you who have been to Israel, you will understand that when I say that there's a dynamism and energy in Israel that is unmatched. You feel it on the streets, in the restaurants and cafes, and in the homes you're readily invited into. You can also feel it in the people that you meet. As a traveler, I mostly meet those you'd expect a business traveler to meet: taxi drivers, hotel staff, business associates, and yes, even fellow lawyers. I recognize this is not a representative sample, although there are many journalists who will tell you that you get to know a country best by talking to taxi drivers. But even among the people I've met, the stereotype of the brusque Israeli breaks down almost immediately. There was, for example, the taxi driver who drove me from Tel Aviv to Ben Gurion, took me into the airport to retrieve a laptop I had left on an airplane, and then took me back to the hotel. There was also a recent conversation I had with a member of the hotel staff who was expressing concern about the recent flooding in Houston, which of course was a few hurricanes ago. There is also a genuine patriotism in Israel that transcends political and religious divisions. And Israelis are eager, and this is true of every Israeli I met, they're eager to make sure that you love their country and that you want to return. This morning I'm going to share with you a unique way you can help ordinary Israelis by supporting University Synagogue's Israel Humanitarian Relief Fund, administered right here by your clergy and staff. This fund directs the resources of this congregation to those organizations in Israel which we want to support and where we can see real results for real people. Let me discuss one of those terrific organizations in Israel supported by this fund, the Israel Movement for Reform and Progressive Judaism, or IMPG for short. Maybe that's not so short. For American Reform Jews, religious observance or lack of observance in Israel can feel very unfamiliar. As the only liberal democracy in the Middle East, Israel has a strong record of religious tolerance. Christians, Muslims, Baha'i, and other faiths are free to worship in Israel. Ironically, in many ways, that tolerance does not seem to extend to different forms of Jewish observance in Israel. As you know, for many years there's been a strict divide among the people between the secular and the observant, a divide which in recent years has unfortunately become political. I've had secular business colleagues at the client that I work with tell me how they now need to be careful discussing political issues with their more observant colleagues. In addition, the control of Israel in family life by the rabbinate remains strong, and secular Israelis often travel to Cyprus or Europe to have a non-Orthodox foreign wedding that will be recognized by the state. On one of my trips, I heard a story about a secular Israeli couple who had two wedding ceremonies, one performed by a Reform rabbi in Israel, and the second performed, I think, by an Elvis impersonator in Las Vegas. The state of Israel recognizes the Vegas wedding and not the Reform one in Israel. Fortunately, the Reform movement is taking hold in Israel, supported by, again, the synagogue's Israel Humanitarian Relief Fund through IMPJ. Got that right this time. This year, 3 new congregations were established within an hour's drive from Tel Aviv, joining over 45 Reform congregations throughout the country, including the Reform congregation that Rabbi Simons mentioned in Jerusalem. All these congregations receive substantial financial support from IMPJ, and the more established ones are financially strong enough to employ their own rabbis and staff. The ability of Israelis who want to observe outside the strictures of the rabbinate and not as the Orthodox would dictate is therefore gaining strength every day. The Israel Humanitarian Relief Fund supports the work of IMPJ in many ways, including the education of young Reform rabbis, social justice programs, the Israel Religious Action Center, and youth programs in Reform congregations. On this Yom Kippur, please join me in making a contribution to this important fund that's, again, locally operated out of the synagogue. You can find one of our famous white envelopes in your prayer books, and please join me in making a pledge to this important fund. Shana Tova, and may you have an easy fast.
I am the sun, Jerusalem. shelter from the storm. I am your guiding light. You are a book whose leaves are torn. A painted tree to write. You are the branches of the tree. I am the clinging vine. Jerusalem, Jerusalem is mine. I have come home, Jerusalem, Jerusalem is
Page 293. Because I was angry, because I didn't think, because I was exhausted and on edge, because I'd been drinking, because I can be mean, because I was reckless and selfish.
Because I was worried about money, because my marriage was dead, because other people were doing it, because I thought I could get away with it, because I did something wrong.
Because I'm in pain, because I wish I could undo it, because I hurt him, because I lost her trust, because I let them down, because I was self-destructive.
Because I was foolish, because I'm ashamed, because that's not who I am, because that's not who I want to be, because I want to be forgiven.
God, bring down my walls of defensiveness and self-righteousness. Help me to stay in humility. Please, give me the strength to do what's right.
We continue on page 296. Please rise.
Reality צדיקים אנחנו ולא חטאנו, אבל אנחנו חטאנו,
We continue on the middle of page 296 with the Shamnu. You may be seated. As we continue on page 300 with Al Khait, please join me in English after I read in Hebrew. Al Khait shechatanu lefanecha ba'ones uvratzon, ve'al Khait shechatanu lefanecha beyodim uvlo yodim. Their ways we have wronged you, duress, by choice, and harm we have caused in your word, consciously and unconsciously. Al Khait shechatanu lefanecha bivli da'at, ve'al Khait shechatanu lefanecha biritzat raglaim lahara. The ways we have wronged you for our lawlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים.
The ways we have wronged you by abusing our power and harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקשיות עורף.
The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש.
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשיח שפתותינו, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין.
The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations and harm we have caused in your world through envy.
ועל כולם אלוהה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם.
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפריקת עול, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכל ובמשתה.
The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב.
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ובמתן.
The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחפת שוחד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחילול השם.
The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public.
To 309 for silent reflection and introspection. We continue on page 310.
We need to offer a great thank you to our choir, to Susan, Tom. We thank all of you for your beautiful music throughout this morning, throughout these holy days. They inspire us, they lift us up, they help our words come off the page and into our hearts. Oh, and our cantors. That would be Cantor Shapiro over here, partner number 2, partner number 1, Jay Freilich. We're delighted. There's something special about it in a congregation, friends, when the cantor emeritus and the cantor successor can actually come up here and do some harmony together. Nay, I might even say in unison. Page 313. This is a genuinely new prayer. This is a prayer that has not been in any prayer book until it was printed here, because we beat ourselves up on these times of Yom Kippur. And we have to also acknowledge Hakarat HaTov, the opportunity that we have to do good as well. Let us affirm the good we have done. Let us acknowledge our acts of healing and repair. Together.
For the good we have done by acting with self-restraint and self-control.
For the good we have done through acts of generosity and compassion.
For the good we have done by offering children our love and support.
For the good we have done by honoring our parents with care and respect.
For the good we have done through acts of friendship and hospitality.
For the good we have done through acts of forgiveness and reconciliation.
For the good we have done by keeping promises and honoring commitments.
For the good we have done through the work of our hands and by serving others.
For the good we have done by caring for the earth and sustaining its creatures.
For the good we have done by housing the homeless, feeding the hungry, and welcoming the stranger.
For the good we have done by acting with integrity and honesty.
For the good we have done through thoughtful and encouraging words.
For the good we have done by caring for our health and that of our loved ones.
For the good we have done by strengthening our Jewish community.
For the good we have done through acts of civic engagement and tikkun olam.
Together, all these have brought light and healing into the world. May these acts inspire us to renew our efforts in the year to come. Let's end our morning, friends, as we rise for the priestly blessing. Shana Tova.